bakers, today we're making homemade whole wheat bread from fresh milled flour. We're going to be milling these wheat berries in the Nutrimill Impact Grain Mill. We're going to be rising the dough in the proofer, and we're going to be mixing the dough in the Bosch stand mixer. So welcome. Let's make some bread. So this is a brand new Nutrimill Impact Grain Mill. They have a whole line of grain mills. This one just recently came out and it's amazing. It's really compact size and it's at a price point where most home cooks can start milling their grain with this grain mill, right? It is, what I like about it over the one that I have, I love the classic, but it'll actually do like 16 cups of grain. And sometimes if you're only making one loaf, you just need a small grain mill. So this is our hopper here. This is where the grain is going to go. That goes on the top. And this is our container that the flour is going to go in. So the grain comes here, it comes out in here. And it has a little lever here that comes off, and the flour is going to come out this spout. You just push up on, because this lever locks and unlocks. You just push up on that, and we're going to pull up on here. It's got to be a tight seal because you don't want flour flying all over your house. It has a little catcher right here that you have to clean this out, but it catches the excess flour so it doesn't puff all over the place. It has a little filter right here, and so this just goes on here. I'm going to latch it down. And then here's our grain mill. I'm going to latch it right there, and we're ready to mill. So to run the mill, there's a dial here. And it seems a little bit weird, but the coarser you want your grain, the faster you want the mill to run. So if you want really coarse wheat flour, you're going to put it up 4 and above. That seems weird, but that's the speed. So it's feeding through the mill faster, and the mill heads don't have as much time to grind it. So the flour is coarser. So if you want finer flour, you want a slower grind. So we're going to do around 2-3 for a finer flour. That's what I did when the last loaf that I made. I put it around 3. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to start grinding. Some of these you have to turn it on first. This one you don't necessarily have to do that. It is loud. Grain mills are loud. I tell people, take this hard wheat berries and go outside and start hitting it with a rock and see how quiet it is. It's not. So this one I can put the grain in before I turn it on. So we'll get this started. I'm going to do it on a 3. So I'm milling 6 cups of flour. We're only going to be using 4, but I'm just milling 6 because we're going to be sifting this. Want to run it for like 30 seconds to get all of that out. And there you are. You want to make sure all that grain has run through the milling heads. And so we're just going to lift this up, get this off here, and let's check out our flour. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up and pull this lid off. Tight fit. And we have some flour.
Ooh.
Here's our flour. Nice. Flour is warm when it comes out of the mill. If you can't imagine running a mill on that. Okay, so I'm going to sift out a little bit of the bran. That's the outer coating of the wheat. You will get a softer loaf like that. Some people are going to scream and say, don't sift it out, right? But I use the bran in other recipes, so we do get the bran, right? I just want my loaf to be a little softer. So this is a 40 mesh and this is a 60 mesh. This is obviously a finer sift. You would use this maybe if you want like AP flour. So you just sift it like this. I do have a big sifter, but this isn't very much flour. So I figured we would do it by hand today. This is not a fun part of the job. One of the things I do know is when I use my sifter, I get less dust. I'll put a link to the sifter down in the description. These sifters and the electric one. And so here we have our fine flour, and here we have the bran. And the germ and everything else, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. So we have that there. I'm going to use those in some pancakes. And here's our flour. So let me go ahead and finish sifting this. Okay, so this is our beautiful sifted flour, right? Thank you, Boo. Boo finished it off for me. I should have used my sifter. Here is the bran that came out of that. So this is good for pancakes, muffins, all that fun stuff. We're going to be using that separately. So here we have the Bosch stand mixer. I had to move a few things around because we're switching gears now. It's time to make the bread. So we're going to take the ring off here. And on here I have my dough hook, and I also have the dough hook extender because we're only using 4 cups of flour, and so we need that to go all the way to the bottom of the bowl. So we are going to be doing an Autolyse, and what that means is we're just going to be putting the water and the flour into the mixer, and we're going to let those two sit together. We're going to knead it a little bit, and we're going to let those two sit together for like 20-30 minutes so they can hydrate, so the protein can get wake up. It'll help us with the stretch, and it'll develop our bread a little bit more. People act like, you know, oh, it's so fancy doing an Autolyse, but it's nothing, right? It's putting your flour and your water in here and let them have a good time for about a half hour-ish. Before you finish adding the ingredients. Only the flour and the water, not the yeast, not the salt, not the sugar, nothing. So that's how we have it. It's kind of sloppy. It's just not doing much of nothing yet. I'm going to put this lid on, and we're going to let it sit for like a half hour. Okay, so let's see what we got here. So this is what happens. You see when we first did this where it was really wasn't coming together? We're almost starting to get, look at that. It's not totally developed, but we started to get some gluten forming just like that. And we didn't even have any yeast in there yet.
Wow.
So I'm going to go ahead and put the yeast in. I'm going to put a bunch of honey in there. I'm going to put in some melted butter. I'm going to put in an egg. I'm going to put in some gluten and some salt. The gluten is just going to increase that gluten on the dough. Just splash a little flour in there. So I'm going to let this go for like 10 minutes. Okay, so it's been kneading for about 10 minutes now. And it's time for us to see, did Amy achieve a window pane? So why do you want a window pane? If you think of bread like a balloon, and the balloon stretches and the bread can release the yeast. The yeast releases its gases, right? If it doesn't have enough of that elastic balloon, poof, right? It can't rise and it could just blow out, right? So the more you have, the more fun it is. So get the hook out of here, and I'll get the dough hook extender out of here. And here's our dough. Kind of sticky, kind of tacky. I like it, I like it. I want some more of it. I like it, I love it. Look at that stretch. Look at that. And in here, I don't know if you can see that.
I can almost see you through it. It's getting really thin.
That is a window pane. See that? But it's
now
still
now it's starting to
barely starting to rip. All the way up there.
Wow.
Look at all that stretch in that. That's literally, look at flour. Flour's just, right? We got flour. We turned flour into this. Look at how stretched and developed that is. Let me get it on the board really quick. I'm going to put a little olive oil spray on here. I don't want to introduce a bunch of flour to it. So it's just going to dry it out. But it's going to be fun if it's sticky. It's hard to handle. Like really high hydrated bread. It's like there's some breads that are like 100% hydrated, meaning it's equal parts flour and water. It's like two stages beyond being a batter.
If you can you put oil in your hands?
Yeah, I can put a little oil in my hands. Sometimes you can dip your hands in water. This is not terribly sticky. So I'm going to roll this into a big dough ball. Look at that, it's very nice. Now this is a little big for me. I'm going to take this bowl here. I'm going to spray it down. And I'm going to put this smooth side up, flip it over, just like that. Now this is going in the proofer. So this is a Broden Taylor proofer. And what it does is it creates a moist, warm environment, perfect for our dough, right? Particularly right now because we're still in the cold season. So I have it set to 76 degrees. I preheated it. I had to move it, so it's still heating a little bit here. But I preheated it like for the last 20 minutes. So it's nice and toasty in there, and it'll be totally up to temp here in a minute. So we're going to take our dough and we're going to put it in here. And in here, we're going to do this really quickly because we're going to let all the heat out. There's a rack in here with a little bit of water. And here's a little water pan that's going to give us our moisture. So we're going to go ahead and put our bread in here, our dough. Then we're going to put the lid on here. And we're going to leave it here till it doubles in size. Okay, I turned the temp up a little bit. I turned it to 78, so that's what it fermented as.
Yeah, it's been proven a while.
Ooh, yeah. It looks pretty good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can get this out of here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let me grab my board. Okay, time to form our loaves. This is not a quick process to do this by any means. So we got our dough here. Whoa, it's dough. Whoa. Very nice. Soft and puffy. Wheat dough. Looks good. God. Get all that air out of there. The yeasties were having a good old time up in there. Mm-hmm. That's my slapping it down. How many grams? 1525.
Okay.
So I need 750 plus 10. 705. 725.
Keep going.
715.
Huh?
715.
Boom. You were at... I think you're off.
805. 715.
Right. You needed 750 plus 10. You needed 765.
I forgot. 755. 770.
That should be close.
765.
Okay, the other one should be close.
755.
All right.
Okie dokie. Artichoke. Okie dokie, artichoke. Let's get some of that air out of there. That looks kind of nice. Do I have a rhyme or reason for shaping bread dough?
Other than just get fit in the pans?
There should be a rhyme or reason. I'm going to get some tension working on that dough. This is quite a bit of dough.
So how is that easy to work with?
Yeah.
Because we know what can happen when dough goes bad, right? When it's not happy.
Well, yeah, it springs back. You had trouble shaping it.
It could be rock hard.
All kind of craziness can happen.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to flatten it out into a rectangle. Rectangle, rectangle. You know how to do it. Roll it up tight like. Get some tension on that bad boy. Pinch, 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 pinch. Get this up here. Pinch, pinch, and boom.
Okay.
Even it out up in here. Fold over the ends. Make it nice and pretty like. That looks kind of good. Loaf number deuce. Yeah, you could knead it. But kneading is hard for me because I don't have a lot of strength for me to be able to do that. Spray it down. Roll up the barrel. We're having a barrel of fun.
Amy's a little more chipper than I am right now.
Eric's grouchy.
Grouchy.
Time for rise number 2.
Yeah.
Okay, the bread's looking good. I don't want it to be too, because then when it gets the oven spring, it's going to be crazy, right? So I'm going to leave it at that. You can let it rise up as long as you want. I'm going to do a quick egg wash on these. This will just give us a shiny top.
Mm-hmm.
You could do a butter wash or put butter a few minutes before you're going to take it out. Butter it and then put it back in and let the butter set. This gives it a shiny top. Mm-hmm. We actually did a video a long time ago about the difference between an egg wash, butter, and milk, I think. It's amazing what the difference is.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Bread is a long process. It's not popping fresh, right?
No.
Particularly fresh milled flour. It's a process. It's best to mill. Of course, you want the freshest wheat you can, but you can mill it the day before. A lot of people just want to mill it, boom. Sometimes we don't have so much energy, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put these in the oven, and when they're done, we'll be back. We got some bread here.
Yeah.
The only thing I forgot to do is I should have slashed it so it would avoid, and see how I have a slight, not too much, but I have a little bit of a blowout here. And that's what happens when it's rising in the wrong direction. So that's here. I think it looks amazing, but you can avoid this a little bit. If you split it down the middle, it's going to burst in the middle and not on the side. So I should have done that, but I didn't do it. But these look amazing.
For a beginner.
Yeah. For a beginner bread maker, look at that.
Mm-hmm. Well, whole wheat is a different animal than white bread.
And freshly milled is a whole nother level, right?
Yeah.
But these look amazing.
So we have to let it cool completely.
Yeah. Cool completely. Don't cut it until it's completely cool. What do you guys think? Looks pretty good, huh? So when these cool, I will cut it and we'll eat it with some jam. Okay, the bread has cooled off. It's been a couple hours. I put it in these little bags. I'll put a link up here. A lot of people ask me where I get my bags from. I'll put a link to those. So let's cut the bread. Ooh. It smells amazing. So let's give it a cut. Ooh. Beautiful. That's a crumb there. Ooh, it's nice and soft. Beautiful size. One problem I always get is I will let it rise too much and then my pieces are like this and they don't fit in the toaster. Drives me crazy. That's mostly because of my lack of attention.
Boo-boo, not paying attention?
Yeah. Ooh, amazing. So, let me see real quick. Let me take a piece here. I'll put a little butter on here. My butter is not totally soft.
Yeah, flip the butter on the side. You can kind of see where it's got a hole. It's starting to...
Oh.
You got the wrong side.
Eric microwaved it.
Well, we don't have a butter setting on this microwave.
We used to.
Yeah.
Our old microwave had a butter setting.
Yeah.
And we're going to put a little raspberry jam on here.
Uh-huh.
Want a piece, Boo?
Maybe. Come to me, darling. Oh,
it's nice and soft.
well, yeah.
I'm used to the wheat bread that I have made in the past over the years has not been. And I think there's a lot of factors that go into that. 1 is putting butter. 2 is putting an egg. And 3, the Autolyse.
Hydration.
Yeah. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
This is absolutely delicious. Homemade honey wheat made from our fresh milled flour in the grain mill, the Nutrimill grain mill, the Bosch stand mixer. Just delicious. What do you think, Bill?
Well, it tastes wonderful.
Very nice. So I just want to thank Nutrimill for sending the Nutrimill Impact so we could try it out, and the Bosch. The Impact is sold out right now as of today. They said they're going to get some more of the Classic and the Harvest grain mills in April and the Impact mill in May. So make sure you come back to this video, bookmark it, whatever, and then make sure you hit the link in my description because that helps support the show. It doesn't increase your pricing. And it helps us put the show on and helps us with the studio kitchen. So again, thank you for joining me.
Refill, garçon.
Absolutely fantastic honey wheat bread from fresh milled flour, and it's delicious. And an Autolyse. Thanks for joining me.